Okay, everyone's here? Everyone hears me? Okay, so the Gemara says two things, same svara twice by our Gemara. The first time, when it wants to know why we can't learn Gershon and Kiddushin from Truma, V'nesi hanach v'nigberu minei, says the Gemara, Mishum de'ikol mifrach shekein yeshna b'machshava. I would say that by Truma, the reason why it's shluchish shaladim k'maisa is because yeshna b'machshava, you can't learn out Kiddushin and Gershon. And Rashi says, Neisen einav b'tzad zeh v'eichel b'tzad zeh d'chsiv v'nechshav. Later in the Gemara, halfway down the Amud, it says, V'nesi nichtiv rachmana b'tarti chadam echada le'asya teisi chadam itarti. So the Gemara says, Le nichtiv rachmana b'gerish b'teisi mehanach. The pasuk shouldn't have to say shluchish shaladim k'meisei by gerishin, and we should learn it from Truma v'katshim. Malahanach shekein yeshnam b'machshava. So Rashi says, Kachim nami yes islu b'machshava, gamar b'libe leimer sher za'ayla harehu ayla. Kedesanya b'shvuas, moitzis vasacha eili ala sheitzi b'svasav, gamar b'libe minayim, tamad leimer kel nedivlei v'ayla. So let's first look at Shavuos. The din, the sugya we see is in Shavuos. Daf Chavav Amud Beis. Rashi brought us by Kachim from Shavuos, Daf Chavav Amud Beis. Meisvei, 5 lines from the bottom of the Amud. The Gemara says Meisvei. It's asking a question on that the Gemara said before, that by Shavuos, you're not chayiv on what you thought. He has to be moitzi b'dibur. Frek the Gemara, meisevei moitzi svasecha tishmer v'asisa, ein li ala shehetzi b'svasav gamar b'libe minayin, Talmud leimer keil nediv leiv. So we learn from the pasuk that that the gamar b'libe makes a chiyuv. What's this pasuk keil nediv leiv? So the Torah brings the pasuk in Parshas Vayakel, keil nediv leiv heviu chach v'nezem v'tabayis. It's not really a pasuk that's a tzivui. But we're learning from the pasuk, seemingly, that's what it says in the Torah, Tamima. Since it says, Koil nediv leiv heviu, that as soon as they wanted to bring, they brought, you see that by Trumas HaMishkan, the nedivus leiv created a chiyuv to bring, and that's why heviu. Says the Gemara, v'nigmar mina, so if I see by Trumas HaMishkan, that machshava is a chiyuv, so learn from there that machshava is payil everywhere. And for the Gemara mishum da have truma v'katshim shnei ksuvin abam ke'echad v'chol shnei ksuvin abam ke'echad ein melamd. Fine. What's truma v'katshim that the Gemara is speaking about? Says Rashi, truma smeleches hamishkan is koil nediv leiv. That's the pasuk we brought. V'gabe kachim ksiv b'chizkiyahu b'sefer divrei hayamim v'chol nediv leiv oilis. So according to Rashi, seemingly, this Gemara in Shavuos is b'chalal not discussing Truma. It's discussing Trumas HaMishkan and Oila, which seemingly is a little difficult, but fine. Now, look in Taisvis. Mishum dehavu truma v'katshim What's the Shnei Ksuvim Abam Keachad of Truma v'Katshim Zak Teisvis? Gabe Katshim Ksiv Keil Nediv Sheviu Bazara Keil Nediv Leiv Eilis. V'gabe Truma Ksiv Nechshav Lachem Trumaschem Shenitla b'Machshava. And then later Teisvis brings Rashi's Pshat. So according to Teisvis, which Truma are we talking about? Hafrashas Truma, the same Truma as in our Gemara. So Silate Rashi, Silate Teisvis says in this Gemara that Kachim is Chal b'Machshava. Truma is a Machlekes Rashi and Teisvis, which Truma the Gemara is talking about. Now, look at the Gemara in Me'ilah, Tav Ches Amud Aleph. And Tav Ches Amud Aleph says in the Mishnah, all the Mishnayos in Me'ilah are speaking about the different karbanos. Every carbon, when the Kedusha, when it gets Kaddish, there's a Isser Me'ilah, there's a Isser Hana, and a Chiyuv Me'ilah on having Hana. Says the Mishnah, so each carbon has different times when the Isser Me'ilah starts, when it ends, different rules. Chatas ha'ef mayalin ba mishahuktisha. The Chatas ha'ef, the Isser Me'ilah starts when it's huktisha. Says Rashi, mishahuktisha b'feh. Why b'feh? L'chayra we said that it's chal b'machshava. Teisvis also over here says, Teisvis mayalin ba mishahuktishu. Pirish Kedushas Peh Dahainu K'Shekdisha. So Rashi and Teisvis in Me'ilah both seem to be not like the Gemara said in Shavuos that the Kedusha is b'machshava, and not like our Gemara in Kedusha that it's Yeshnam b'machshava.
Which daf in Me'ilah is it?
Tav Ches Amud Aleph, the Mishnah, the beginning of the new parak. And then there's a Maimer in Likutei Torah, in Pashas Matos, Pei Gimel Amud Beis, Ish ki yider neder, sheyader b'davar hanader, shedavar hanader k'mei karbon hu al-yidei shemakdishi b'peh, v'achar kach ha-karbon maylo yisei. V'atam shetzarech lakdishi b'peh. The Alter Rebbe is discussing the fact that the Kedushas HaKarbon comes from verbally being makdishit, and why does it have to be makdishit b'peh? So the Alter Rebbe, what the Alter Rebbe says in Likutei Torah seems to fit with what Rashi and Teisvis says in Me'ilah. It all doesn't seem to fit with the Gemara in Shavuos and with our Gemara in Kiddushin. Two places where it seems to say it's Chal b'Machshava, two places where it seems to say it's Dafka b'Peh b'Dibur. So now let's go to the Likutei Levi Yitzchak. The Rebbe asked the question l'chayra to Rab Leivik. The first letter is in Shin Aleph, and Rab Leivik writes to the Rebbe like this. Yeah, you all have it on your. B'saymi hamichtav nizkarti. When I finished off writing the letter to you, Rab Leivik writes to the Rebbe, I remembered שבמכתבך הקשית על המבואר בליקוטי תורה שהקרבן צריך להקדיש בפה. והקשית משבועס דף חו"ב עמוד בייס גמר בליבי מניין, תלמוד לימר קהל נדיב ליבי. ויקשה לך מהאמר במעילה דף חס ברש"י בפה. So the Rebbe asked all these questions to Rab Leivik. V'nichnasta litchek, says Rab Leivik to the Rebbe wanted to say a deichek answer. Shakavana b'Rashi hu lemayit she'ein tzarech ma'isa v'al gam machshava mayot. That when Rashi says b'peh, he means it's even b'peh, even without a ma'isa, and even b'machshava also. All he's saying is less than ma'isa. Rab Leivik writes to the Rebbe, Espale alecha eichek sheisa kazeis. Wie kannst du fragen als Akasha? Ma shaychus inyin sheyehei ha-karbon kodesh bepeh davka L'ha'omer b'shvuas. Because what's the question? Ha'omer b'shvuas hu le'inyan achiyav al ha'adam. Shalei tzarech sheyomer b'peh dafka harei alai oila harei za'oila. Ela gam in gomer b'libay harei alai oila mechuyev lahavi oila. V'im chashav shebehemei zutia oila mechuyev lahavi behemei zula oila. Umutal alav gam ken hamitzvus aseh laviyam b'regel shepaga beitchila. V'im loy hevi avar al mitzvus aseh shav regimur regalim avar al lois aseh the Baal Ta'ach. In Shavuos, we're speaking about the person's chiyuv. That makes sense. In Shavuos, we're comparing it. The Gemara started asking a question on Shavuos. That by Shavuos, it's not chal b'machshava. What's not chal by Shavuos? A chiyuv on the person. Shavuos is only a chiyuv on the person. When I swear, I have to do what I swore. But if in my mind I think I'm going to do something, I don't have to do it. It's all with regards to whether or not a chiyuv is chal on the person. So with that, it says that the machshava by karbonis does put a chiyuv on the person. He has to comply with what he thought he's going to do. But in Shavuos, we're not talking about kedusha being chal on the animal, and that taka doesn't happen b'machshava. And that's only prepare. V'rakim omar prepare areizu oila oz nasas habehema lekarbon sheyesh b'kedusha v'asura begiza v'avoida u'meilim ba. U'b'kol hakarbonis kenu shekol zman shliamar b'peshet tia behema zu ha'efsei shte alechem b'chadema oila yishlamim b'chatas mashu b'chadema ein b'chshum kedusha klal except for b'chair. V'hu ha'omer b'rashi v'teisus shamashari mefashim b'pelim yutei machshava. V'hu ha'omer b'lekutei teira shekarbon hu kaddish b'peh dafka v'mlei kdish b'peim b'karbon shum kedusha adayin. U'kenira b'chipasim kasavta. So Rabbi Leivik says, seemingly there's no question. When you look at the sugyas, they're talking about two different things. The sugya in Shavuos is talking about the contrast between a shvua and a carbon. By a shvua, we're talking about what kind of an obligation comes on a person b'machshava. And that we learned from Meitzis Vaseh. To do what he says is only when he articulated. Only when he said. That's chal in the behema itself. But Rashi and Tosfos say b'peh that there should be a kedusha in the animal, that you have to be b'dibur make it kaddish. If someone's saying something, I can't hear you. Fine. And B'meila says Rabbi Leivik, there's no question on what it says in Likutei Torah. Likutei Torah says the carbon you have to be makdish b'peh. That's talking about the kedushas hakarbon. Seemingly a very strong answer. That's muchach mimkeimei. That's what you see taka in the two sugyas, because that's what the inyanim davar alomid mi inyanei. That's what the two sugyas are talking. On the bottom of the page of the Likutei Levi Yitzchak, there's tziyunim from the Rebbe. Kenira, the Rebbe wrote on the side of the letter his ha'aris on the letter. So we see, and there's this you find in a number of the letters. And on this letter, the Rebbe wrote Gamma Carbon Kaddish. The Rebbe didn't accept the Rabbi Leivik's answer, and like we'll see in the next letter. So here the Rebbe writes very bekitzer that it's you can't say this answer, and that we say by karbanis that machshava works. It's not only for the chiyuv on the person; it's for the kedusha of the carbon itself. How do you see not like Rabbi Leivik's answer that seemed like a very strong answer and seemed very strongly based on the sugyas? Says the Rebbe kemuchach hasugya kedushin mamalaf amabeis v'sham berashi. Or trumas paragimu mishnaches berash. Pnei Moshe Vayit.
Mute them. It's somebody who's talking somewhere else, but it's calling user number 2. If you're the host, you can mute them.
So let's focus on the first thing that the Rebbe brings. Right? The Rebbe brings Sugya de Kiddushin, because Trumas, I couldn't get it onto the Marmakamis. If you'll have a chance, you'll look up the Rash and Trumas. I didn't see what the Raya is there. In the next letter, Rab Leivik is going to discuss it, so we'll see it a little bit there. Pnei Moshe, I don't know what the Pnei Moshe is. I guess it's on that Mishnah, but the Rebbe doesn't bring where. And it's not discussed in the next letter. Let's focus on the first thing, which is what's Negia to us. He's talking about our Sugya. The Rebbe says the Sugya in Kiddushin, V'sham B'Rashi, is Muchach, not like Rab Leivik's answer. What's the Heichacha from the Sugya in Kiddushin?
The participants panel, you could click mute on him.
Which phone?
Call in user number 2.
What?
Call in user 2, it should be at the top of the participants panel.
Yeah, so what's the Muchach? Again, how do we touch, before we see the next letter? You learned Kiddushin, you learned the question, you see Rab Leivik's answer, which sounds like a Meiredik answer, a brilliant answer. The Rebbe says, no, it doesn't fit with Kiddushin, Mem Aleph Amud Beis V'sham B'Rashi. What would be our first way of understanding? What does it mean? What are we seeing different from this answer in a Kiddushin, Mem Aleph Amud Beis V'sham B'Rashi? What? That's one possibility, and definitely that was discussed in the Rebbe's letter. We see that in the next letter. But that shouldn't be the first thing that comes to your mind, because that's not being discussed in this letter. We're talking about Kutshim. You're telling me the Rashi of Truma.
Over there, the Gemara says that you can use the carbon.
What?
The current Pesach, the Shliach used the carbon, the current Pesach. Shechted it. It wasn't just a dibur.
Okay, so what are you telling? You're telling me the Rebbe is trying to prove from Kiddushin that the Machshava itself makes the Kiddushin and the carbon, even without anything else. You're telling me the opposite.
Yes.
So let's look. I'm going to give you 3 possibilities, and I don't know any of them. All I know that some of them are discussed in the next letter. All we know about what the Rebbe wrote to this is from we see the next answers of Rab Leivik. I'm going to tell you 3 possibilities, and then we'll examine the next letter. The first possibility is Rashi Bayas. What does Rashi say on Shekein Yeshnan b'Machshava? Rashi Shekein Yeshnan b'Machshava. What does Rashi say? Gamar b'libay loymar sheir ze oila harei hu oila. And Rashi brings the Gemara in Shavuos. Gamar b'libay loymar sheir zu oila harei hu oila doesn't sound like you have a chiyuv to bring it as oila. It sounds like it is an oila. That's one possible raya that the Rebbe is bringing. A second possible raya that the Rebbe is bringing is what Yossi said, is based on a hanacha. In Shavuos, we compare Truma to Kutshim. So if we have a raya from Kiddushin to Truma, That's also a raya that kachim is like that. So then, Noisin Einav B'tzad Zeh V'Oichel B'tzad Zeh, the fact that B'negia to Truma, we see in Rashi that the Truma is Chal B'Machshava Gufa is a raya that kachim is also like that. Even though in the letter, at this point, they're not discussing Truma, but the second raya that the Rebbe brings from the Rash on Mishnayos and Truma is for sure only a raya b'negei to Truma. So the Kedemuchach that the Rebbe says is based on the Hanacha that Truma and Kachim are the same, and if we have a raya to Truma, that will also be a raya to Kachim. So it's possible that the raya from the Sugya and Kiddushin is also from Truma, which is one of the rayas for sure that the Rebbe brought, that Reb Leivik is coming to answer in the next letter. Okay, these are two possibilities from Rashi. I'm going to tell, there should be another raya, I think, but we'll come back to that. Let's go to the next letter. But I want to just point out to you, in the Tziyunim it says, Kedemuchach hasugya kiddushin v'sham b'Rashi. Does that mean the raya is from Rashi? Or does that mean that the Rebbe is bringing a raya from the Gemara and from Rashi? If the raya was only from Rashi, l'cheira, it should have said Kedemuchach miRashi kiddushin. Kedemuchach hasugya seems to be besides the lashon of Rashi, which both of these rayas are from the lashon of Rashi, seems to be a raya from the sugya of Kiddushin itself. Who sees a raya from the sugya of Kiddushin itself?
What would be a different way of learning Shkin Yesh and Machshava, saying Kachim Yesh and Machshava?
That a Machshava puts a chiyuv on the person. That's the way Reb Leivik is learning.
Okay, so Yesh, so the way the Rebbe says the Sugya Shom, the Rashi is the way Rashi learns the Sugya, no?
So it's from Rashi, not from the Sugya. Every time Rashi, the raya is from the way Rashi teaches this din of Machshava. But the other Rishonim could learn different. Good, so it's a raya from Rashi, it's not a raya from the Sugya. Maybe you'll tell me that's what these words mean. So let me tell you a third eifim before we go to the next letter. The raya is from the sugya itself. This possibly is what the Rebbe means. This is what I think these words mean. What are we saying? Let's say first by Kachim. I think it's clearer by Kachim. Reb Leivik is timing that when the person thinks he's mechuyev to bring a carbon, the Gemara is saying that Kachim works al yidei shliach. What works al yidei shliach? What did the Gemara say in Kiddushin? Where do we see shlichus by Kachim?
Pesach.
That what?
And he could shach for everyone.
He could shach. He could be makriv the carbon. If the yeshnoi b'machshava is b'negeya to the kedushas carbon, so then I could understand how that's a pircha, because the kedusha comes b'machshava, so other aspects could be b'yidei shliach. It's the kedusha, it's the dinei hakarbon. But if it's b'negeya to the chiyuv, what does that have to do with shlichas b'negeya to the shchita? How is that a pircha? The fact that the chiyuv of the person is b'machshava, that because of that a shliach could be makriv the carbon. Seemingly the kemucha chasugya could be the etzem pircha of yashne b'machshava is only if the machshava has to do with the kedushas hakarbon.
No, but okay, from the fact that I don't need to make a shliach to be makdish, it shows it's already kaddish.
I don't understand what you're saying.
In other words, the fact it's already kaddish, and I only need a shliach, it's a shechted. No?
Of course it's already kaddish, but we don't discuss how it became kaddish. It's kaddish could be the shlichus that it's speaking about in that Mishnah is for shechting it. But we want to say the reason why you're able to make a shliach to shechted is because you could also have done something else b'machshava. The thing that you're able to.
Why is the shliach not a shliach to be makdish?
He didn't make a shliach. The Mishnah is not talking about a case of making a shliach to be makdish. And maybe you can't make a shliach to be makdish. I don't know if you could make a shliach to be makdish. What we see in the Mishnah is that you can make a shliach to shecht. The Gemara says, I can't learn from that to Gershon, because there's a reason, there's a svara why you should be able to use a shliach to shecht behema, because you see machshava works by kachim. If machshava works to do things in the dinei hakdusha, so then I understand how that's a pircha. But if machshava doesn't work for the dinei hakdusha, machshava is working only for the chiyuv al ha'adam, then I don't understand the pircha. Right? That could be the Kidmucha Sugya. Let's see the next letter. An understanding from Rab Leivik's answers what the Rebbe asked back. So here we see the Rebbe didn't accept it. Rab Leivik said, L'chayr, it's a pashta answer. So in the next letter, page Dalet Shin Dalet, V'alderech kushiyascha eida pam al ha'omer b'likutiteira she'en carbon kadosh ela yedei amira b'peh me'ha'omer b'shvuah she'gomer b'li b'isagi. Reb Leivik says to the Rebbe, you asked the question again. You don't like my answer. So the Rebbe brings a raya, the raya that at least one of the main rayas, that's what Rab Leivik is addressing in a big part of the letter, is the Rebbe says it can't be that by carbon. The b'machshava means machshava makes a chiyuv on the person, because you see the Gemara compares kachim to truma, and by truma it's for sure that the kedusha itself is chal b'machshava. Where do we see that by Truma the Kedusha itself is Chal b'machshava? So the Rebbe brings a Rambam. Let's see the Rambam. Hamiskaven. Ja, per Dal Allah het zijn, Hamiskaven la met Truma, meiser met Truma lemer klum, at she pivul v'shab. Hifrish, you see it? Hifrish Truma b'machshavte v'loy haitzi b'svasav klum. Harei zu Truma. Shanemar v'nechshav lachem Trumaschem kidogan min ha'geiren b'machshava bilvat tia Truma. What's the raya from the Rambam? Seemingly, the Rambam is clearly not talking about the chiyuv on the person. The Rambam says, "Arei zu truma b'machshava bilvat tia truma," and if the Rambam says that lashon by truma, and we're mashva truma to kachim, must be by kachim also. It's chal b'machshava bilvat, right? Seemingly a clear raya, right? So before we continue. Of them. I don't understand. We just looked up the Gemara in Shavuos, and we saw Machlekes Rashi and Tosfos. According to Rashi, there's no such a hashva between Truma and Kachim. Unless there's a hashva somewhere else other than Shavuos. I don't think so. According to Rashi, right, we just learned Truma v'Kachim, that Shnei Ksuvim Abam Ke'echad, that says in Shavuos is Trumas HaMishkan, and Kachim. It doesn't discuss Truma at all over there. Truma is discussed in Kedusha. According to Taisvis, there's a hashva of Truma v'Kachim. But then the Raya is only according to Taisvis, which is going to be difficult because Taisvis himself doesn't seem to hold like that. And it's difficult to me that the Rebbe would say with a pshitos mashva Truma v'Kachim bistam when it's a machlekes rishenim, if we're ever mashva Truma v'Kachim. Yeah, what's the pshat in this? Hello? How come you guys are so quiet?
Where's Tesis Mashva Truma Kachim?
Again, when it says in Shavuos, Truma v'Kachim Shnei Ksuv Mabam Kachad, what does the word Truma mean? According to Rashi, it means Truma Samishkan. The Truma of V'nechshav Lachem was never discussed there. It was Le'ol al-Alev, Le'ol al-Adas. Didn't come into that Gemara. According to Taisvis, Truma v'Kachim is Kachim. The Keil Nediv Leiv Eilis is Kachim, and Truma is the Truma of V'nechshav. Oh, so the Gemara is comparing them.
No, Gemara is mashva.
What? Very good.
In Kedushin is mashva then.
Oh, so l'chayra, the only thing I could think is when the Rebbe says Hari Mashva, he's not referring anymore to the Gemara and Shavuos that he started off with. Mashva is right, correct. It's our Gemara. Our Gemara said Mala Hanach, referring to Truma and Kachim, Shekein Yeshna b'machshava, Muzach sein dieselbe Eifel von Yeshna b'machshava. And since by Truma, we see in the Rambam that it's Chal the Kedusha, Muzayin Azay by Kachim also. So the Rebbe brought the Raya Benegeh to Truma from the Lashon HaRambam. Says Rabbi Levi, Kine Masha L'dida Chula Hedya B'Rambam, L'didi Eine Klal L'Hedya. Das ist nicht Pashat, das ist the Pshat in the Rambam. Ayin B'Minchas Chinuch, Al Sefer Chinuch, Mitzvah Tavkov Zayin. Tira Shedas Hashar HaMelech, Chuf Sefer Shar HaMelech, Eine Tachas Yadi. But the Shar HaMelech holds B'das HaRambam, Shemachshava Greido Le'Mahani, Rak B'tzir of Maisa HaFrasha Lazah. Come to in a minute to the Rashba. Let's just see this briefly inside. Right? You have the Minchas Chinuch, right? So the Minchas Chinuch brings in the bottom, 3 lines from the bottom. Das Rashi B'kama Mekemis. The Afrashas Truma Sagi b'machshava b'vad, the Neisen Eimna b'tzad zeh v'eichom b'tzad acher. Achateisvis b'chulin kosvu d'loi mahani machshava l'chud, rak ma shemevur the Sagi b'machshava hainu im hifrish v'loi heitzi b'svasav rak b'machshava l'vad Sagi. Aval b'machshava greida l'oi mahani. Taisva says that machshava is only together with Afrasha. We'll see that in a minute. So the Minchas Chinuch is not first saying he brings the Taisva says this beferish. I don't know where the Taisva. I didn't find that yet. I don't have to find the new Minchas Chinuch. But I want to point out this makes it more difficult for me that the Rebbe should be speaking about mashva isam to the Gemara and Shavuos, and he's referring to Taisvis, because Taisvis Gufa L'Shitase by Kachim doesn't hold like that. Must be he means the Mahashva and Kiddush. So here the Minchas Chinuch brings V'ayin b'Sefer Shah Melech Kan Perek Dalet Shepilpo Barichos V'Daite B'Das HaRambam the Sefer Gamkin Kidei Yazu the Kasav Hifrish Truma b'Machshavte V'Leitzi B'Sfas Avir the Afrasha Bina. The Shah Melech is teaching the Rambam Hifrish b'machshavte, not that he was mafrish through machshava. He was mafrish. He did a ma'aseh Russia b'machshavte together with a machshava. All that was missing was the dibur. So according to the Shar HaMelech, the Rambam didn't say by Truma Gufa that it's enough machshava itself to be payal the kedusha. right? It says further, V'cheinu b'deya echad b'chidushei harashba kidushin mefurish. Then he's going to come to Rashi. Let's just say this Rashba. I forgot to put the Rashba, which should have been on the Marmakemis. But let me read you the Rashba. The Rashba has a question that L'cheira, that Rashi says, Neisen eina b'tzad zeh v'eichel b'tzad acher is a machlekes tanoim. So first he says the machlekes has only been a get to emet. And then in the end of the Rashba, he says, "V'hachi hachi pirushay yeshna b'machshava shem nata v'leikara l'shem trumasei truma." Says the Rashba b'feirish, what does it mean b'machshava by truma? That it works b'machshava, hafrasha works b'machshava without dibur. So according to the Rashba, it's clear. That's what the Minchas Chinuch quoted the Rashba. That machshava means you don't need dibur. The hafrasha works by machshava the way the Shamalach teaches the Rambam. So before we continue, L'cheira, Rab Leivik is asking on the Raya of the Rebbe. The Rebbe brought a Raya from the Hashva of Truma to Kachim, not like Rab Leivik's Pshat. He says, you bring a Raya from Truma, Arva tzarech. By Truma itself, steht das nicht. Yeah. This seems very difficult. Why is it very difficult? Again, you're following the way Rab Leivik is being deicha, the dechia of the Rebbe. Rab Leivik said an answer. The Rebbe was deicha the answer. Rab Leivik is being deicha the dechia, l'cheira, because you see clearly in Rishonim and Achreinim that it's not so pashut what the Rebbe said. What's the difficulty with the dechia of Rab Leivik? Seems to be very difficult. I don't understand. Let's look. The Rebbe asked a stira, a question on the Likutei Torah, and a stira between two Gemaras. In the Gemara in Shavuos, it says that Kol Nediv Leiv, that Kachim is Chal b'machshava. In the Gemara in Meila, it says it has to be Huktasha b'peh. And in the Likutei Torah, it says it has to be Huktasha b'peh. So Rab Leivik said, the machshava makes a chiyuv on the person. We're not talking about the kedusha being chal in the animal in Shavuos. In Meila, the kedusha to be chal in the animal, that's dafka b'peh. The Rebbe said no. Since we see the inyan of machshava by kachim is the same as the machshava by truma the machshava works for the kedusha being chal in the peiros, so it must be like that by kachim also. Rab Leivik brought now, no, you see in the Shara Melech that the kedusha is not chal b'machshava without afrasha. How does that answer anything? It doesn't have to say the teretz of Rab Leivik. He has to say that the Gemara of Kol Nediv Leiv is talking b'negiyah to the chiyuv of the person. That we see clearly in the Rambam that it's not talking about the chiyuv of the person. It's talking about the chalei sakdusha. How does the chalei sakdusha happen? Does it need a ma'isa afrasha also or not? That's the bazundere shaila. But the payo mamish from the Gemara in Shavuos steht doch b'machshava levad. You want to say that over there b'machshava means b'afrasha sekenish zayin. Because even in Meila you see b'peh, you don't need a ma'isa afrasha. The only thing you could answer is that the machshava is only b'negiyah to the chiyuv of the person. That for sure you can't say. Because we see by Truma that we're talking about the chalei sakdusha hareizu Truma. So regardless of whether what made the chalei truma, the ma'isa afrasha or the machshava, that's not basudra and machlekes rishonim. But b'negiyah to the question, are we talking about the chiyuv of the gavra, the chiyuv of the person, or the chalei kedusha? I see the Ashva from Truma, we're talking about the Chalais HaKedusha. I don't see any answer to that over here. So that's why I don't understand how with this separate machlekes that Rab Leivik is bringing, which is clear in the Rishonim, a machlekes Rishonim, and the Shamalach Taka learns a different shot in the Rambam, that's been a gear to that other machlekes. How does that help to the first discussion? Any Maven. Now let's go back. But this Akapanim, the Rebbe said for sure.
It can't, if the machshava without Afrasha can't make the Chalais HaKedusha, then it couldn't make a chiyuv on Gavra?
No. Nothing to do one with the other. Couldn't make a chiyuv Gavra. Could not make. The question is, when we speak about machshava doing something by Truma, what are we speaking about? The din of v'nechshav. There's a gzeres akasav of v'nechshav. Wegen was retzich in the gzeres akasav v'nechshav. When we speak keil nediv libe wegen welche din retzmen, then we have a separate question. How does it work? This v'nechshav, is it only machshava or machshava with a ma'aser, machshava with a dibur? By kachim, how does it work? You understand? There's two separate questions. What is the chiyuv that's happening and how does it work? The Rebbe is bringing a raya from the Hashva, which chiyuv we're talking about. Rab Leivik wanted to taina, we're talking about the chiyuv Shala Adam. The Rebbe says no, because by Truma we're talking about the Chalais HaKedusha and the Truma. The fact that Chalais HaKedusha and the Truma maybe needs a Maisa Afrasha doesn't change the fact that we're talking about the Chalais HaKedusha and the Truma. B'meila by Kachim, which is Hushvu. The Truma, the Keil Nediv Liba is talking about what brings about the Chalais HaKedusha and the animal. Now Rab Leivik says further, Afilu with Das Rashi.
Right. Why can't you say that the Gemara is talking about the Chalais HaKedusha? And
which
Gemara?
Gemara?
Can you get
Which Gemara?
Either Peh or Maisa.
What? Which Gemara is talking about Chalais HaKedusha?
It's talking about the Chalais HaKedusha, and
which
it's
Gemara?
you could use Peh or Maisa to make the Chalais HaKedusha.
Which Gemara is talking about Chalais HaKedusha?
Gemara in Shavuos.
If the Gemara in Shavuos is talking about Chalais HaKedusha, and it says it's b'machshava.
Machshava and Afrasha, Maisa together.
What? So you want to say, 1 second, you want to tell me, maybe, but you'll see in the end of this letter clearly not like that. You want to tell me that Rab Leivik is being chayzer from his first answer and saying a brand new answer? Yeah, we have a stira between Shavuos and Me'ilah. How are we answering the stira? The answer that Rab Leivik said before is because Shavuos is only talking about the chiyuv al Adam. If you're telling me Shavuos is talking about the Chalais HaKedusha, bist du zurückgegangen, weggegangen die ganze für jene Empfang. You want to tell me saying a brand new answer, but you'll see in the end of this letter, it's clearly not the pshat. You see what the problem is? Okay, let's see further. Now he says, but the Rebbe brought a raya from Rashi, apparently. And that's why, just to point out, so you're keeping track, this part of the letter gives the possible assumption that when it said Rashi, he's talking about this Rashi that Rab Leivik brings, because Rab Leivik is answering the Rashi. Seemingly the Rebbe did ask from this Rashi. It says Rashi in Kiddushin by Truma says it's only b'machshav. B'afilu l'das Rashi shenesin einav b'tzad zev eichel b'tzad acher. Gam ken yesh l'sapik v'loymar shazeh dai rak le'inyan shei muter lechel b'tzad ha'acher she'atzad ha'acher yotza mitevo v'nechshav kechulin. מפני שהתורה אמר ונחשב שבמחשבה בלבד די לעניין החלק הנשאר שיהיה נחשב כחולין שכבר תרמו ממנו. אבל החלק שנשם בעיניו שיהיה תרומה, אם שהמחשבה מיילה שדווקא הצד שנשם בעיניו עושה צריך להפריש לתרומה, אך איני קודש עדיין בקדושת תרומה כל זמן שלא יפרישי, שיהיה חייבן עליו זר האיכלי וכדומה. So he wants to say, even according to Rashi, maybe we could say that Rashi says Nesa and Einav b'tzad zev and Eichel b'tzad acher. The machshava helps for the heter of Eichel b'tzad acher, but it doesn't help for Chalais HaKedusha, even by Truma. B'meila, what would I be able to say? That there's no Chalais HaKedusha until he's mafresh. Even according to Rashi. It's a very chiddushdik vart, but he wants to, so it shouldn't, at least to take away the question. We shouldn't have a shverikite from this Rashi. We learned in the last year, Asfun de Raisa, that Rabbi Yosef Engel says a svara, that the Isser Tevel is Kustruma and Chulin are Mu'urav. And therefore, when you're mafresh it, so Geitar up the Isser Tevel, because now they're not mixed together anymore. According to that svara in Rabbi Yosef Engel, that he brought that svara from Rashi, if you remember. Rashi in Yevamis, I think it was, that says that Tevel is because there's Truma mixed in. Darf eis kommen that as soon as I'm mafresh it, so then the Kedusha is there b'derech memela. Then it would be very hard to say that I'm mafresh it, and the chulin is mutter, and the truma is still not truma. And that was Rashi Gufa. So it's hard to say, but maybe this is what he wants to find for. Das harash betrumas meshneches yesh l'fash afilu kedas harambam, like the Shar Melech, whatever. But the Rashi we didn't look up. Harishigam betruma machshava bovad. I looked it up, but I don't know exactly what the raya, but it's eine maspik l'kedushasa. Mashekim ba'amira nasis kedusha. Okay, Maikim Bekachim. So the answer needs to be understood, I think. But we're getting at least today the Rashi Dvar. So then the Rebbe says the Rebbe Leivik says there's another Rashi in Kiddushin that is Takish Shver on what he says. And that's why I told you 3 Eifanim to explain the Tziyunim in the last letter where the Rebbe says V'Risham B'Rashi, because the 2 of the Rashis are addressed beferish in this letter. And therefore, either of those 2 Rashis could be what the Rebbe is referring to, or maybe both of them when he says Sham B'Rashi. And because it says Asugya, therefore I told you the 3rd Eiv. But here the Rebbe brings the Rebbe Leivik brings, the 2nd Rashi, that seemingly the Rebbe wrote to him this one also, or maybe not, maybe he's saying it himself. Hey Namas, it's all our speculation, what exactly the Rebbe wrote. Hey Namas the Lashon Rashi Bekidushin Daf Memalef from Beis Gomer Belibe Harehu Oila. Says Harehu Oila. Pshutei Meira Shehu Oila b'machshava bovad. Ach yeser teiv l'tchukei nafshin v'leimer shakavana hu shehu mechuyev laviyei Oila. V'loi shehu kadosh b'kedushas Oila b'machshava bovad. Maybe b'deichek, he says, I agree that it's a deichek, but b'deichek we could say, harehu oila means that b'negiyah to the person's chiyuv. So already you have to bring it as a oila. It's not the lashon, but it's better to say this deichek mimasha nitchik v'neimar shem meseches me'ila shehuva sham b'rashi v'teisvis v'rab v'kama mekemis kedushas peh v'chata sa'efu v'shtei alechem u'v'lechem apanim u'v'minoches v'chein b'mishna b'akemetz v'alvena. So Rabbi Leivik is saying, I agree this is a deichek, but to say the answer that you're saying, he says it's also a deichek. And this deichek, so he wants to stay with this answer because of the rights. I just want to finish off quickly, go to the Igris, the Rebbe's letter in Igris, in page Reish Lametes. So after all of this, so the Rebbe says the raya from the Rambam in Hilchas Trumas is not a raya. Rebbe Leivik said the raya from the Rambam in Hilchas Trumas is not a raya. And maybe you could say this way. The Rebbe remained with his way. We see in this Ha'ara. Let's see the raya that the Rebbe remains with B'negiyah to Kachim. After all the rayas the Rebbe brought, Rebbe Leivik was Deicher, the Rebbe brought another raya. So it says examples in Ha'ara Ches, just the Kitzur Nimratz now, we'll go into it more next time. He says, Benedaves, Shvuas Chavav Amud Beis. Here he brings a new Rambam that we didn't have in any of the other two letters. Rambam Hilchis Maisa Karbanis Perak Yedal Alach Yud Beis. The Muchach Shav Shabehema Niskatshai De Machshavte V'Leirak Sha'adam Chol Chiyav L'Kadesh Shabehema B'Pivel Avi Nedava. And he remains with the question from Rashi and Teisus Emil. What does it say in this Rambam in Hilchis Maisa Karbanis Perak Yedal Alach Yud Beis? So the Lashon Rambam is like this. Perak Yedalid. Halacha Yud Beis. Benedarim, you're here. Benedarim unedavis einei tzarech lahaitzi b'svasav klum. Elohim gamar belibe v'lahaitzi b'svasav klum chaya. Ketzad gamar belibe shezu eila sheyavi eila hareza chayav nehavi. Shanemar kol nediv leiv yevia benedivus leiv yischayav lahavi. Pelagavim. This Rambam seems to say exactly like Rab Leivik. The Rambam seems to say that the Nedivus Leiv makes a chiyuv on the person to bring. Nothing to do with the Kedusha. And Achreinim are taka medayik. I'll show you next time a number of Achreinim are medayik in the Rambam. He brings in the Sefer Maftech that the Rambam's talking about the chiyuv of the person. Over here in the Maskana, in this last letter, the Rebbe leaves all the other rayas from the Rashi and Kiddushin that seem like strong rayas, and the Rebbe brings one raya from a Rambam in Maisa Karbanis that seems to be put for kert. What's the raya from this Rambam? Umedem v'alechaychlazin, v'lechatchila riber, v'mestamen alechatchila riber dikeifim, v'mekefinin terutzim for the alle biurim, for alle inyanim, und von alle inyanim v'lechatchila riber. Sei gesund, a guten Tag, and we'll meet again.
Go to sleep.